Hi, my name's Tammy. I work at Get It Scrapped and Masterful Scrapbook Design. I've been scrapbooking for 10 years, and I spend a lot of time on the internet checking out other people's scrapbook spaces. I love looking inside their little world where they create and see what inspires them and how their process works. Now that I have my scrapbook space in a spot that I would not be embarrassed to show it on the internet, I am going to give you a tour. I have a large scrapbook room, and I know that I'm very blessed with it. We have an extra room downstairs that we don't want our kids on different levels, so I kind of stayed some claim on this room, and it has become a little bit more than just my scrap room. The boys come here and do their homework sometimes, and the little ones come in here and wreak havoc on my stuff. But I love it because it is kind of become a little bit of a second heart to the home. So I'm going to show you over here first. This is the side of my youngest son's crib. He outgrew his bed, and because it's a drop-down side and those are banned now, I didn't want to give it away. I decided to tear the side off that drops down and repurpose it into a display unit. Zach started kindergarten this year, so this is his spot, and he can hang whatever he wants here. He has one hook per room, and each one is on there by a ribbon and a badge ID clip. And he comes in and he'll take something down and put something else up, and he kind of rearranges and does his own thing here. What I love about it is that I get to see his stuff every day, and I love looking at the things that he creates at school. I also love that he's purging his own stuff. So at the end of the school year, when I finish up his kindergarten yearbook, it will have the stuff that he felt was important through the school year. He has stuff that has been up here since day one, and he comes in every once in a while and he gets something that he thinks that's cooler and takes something down. So I just love that it gives him the choices to make, and then at the end of the year, like I said, what's important to him is what gets saved. So that's very cool because that's less work for me. Down here, I have all of my art journaling stuff. One of the things that I have learned the most about myself over the last 10 years since I've done this is that if I don't have a limit, I will buy and buy and buy and hoard and save and keep, and I just can't do that anymore. I find that it actually is, it goes against my creativity. When we moved about a year ago, I actually had a smaller room. It was probably about half the size of this room, but I probably had 5 times as much stuff. I hardly ever scrapbooked. I just, every time I went to do something, I had to choose between, you know, like paper stack that was this big, which piece am I going to use, and then embellishments, I had tons and tons and tons, and then I had to choose alphabet, and it was just too much decision making that it actually kind of took away the joy of just doing something. So now I limit, and I still realize I have quite a bit of stuff, but I do limit my stuff to certain areas. So in this is all of my art journaling stuff. So all of my texture tools I keep in this drawer, masks, stencils. I make confined collages, and when I don't, whatever I don't use, I keep in this drawer. What I like is that these drawers are 12 by 12, so I can fit decent sized things in here, but it limits me. So once I know this drawer is full, I either need to use the stuff or get rid of this stuff. So that is my tip. My biggest tip, the thing that I've learned the most, is to keep your storage smaller than you think, because you have to set yourself limits. Over here, I have my wall of inspiration. The idea is at some point this entire wall will be covered with things that I find stimulating, either visually or because of what they mean to me. I know it's kind of got some bare spots now, but the idea is to fill in those little spots with different things. This is probably one of my favorite things. When about, I think it might have been a year ago, Get It Scrapped, we have a group of girls in the forum that grew very close, and we did a page swap, and everybody mailed in pages, and then I mailed them all out. And this is the page. This is a display that I created for the pages. It's actually just a frame, a cheapy frame that kind of didn't make it in the move. The frame part broke, but I kept the cardboard back and the plexiglass top, and just used binder clips to keep it together. But I like this because I think that it is visually stimulating, because it's just really cool to see everybody's different style. But I really love it because it reminds me of all of my friends all over the world. So I keep it up to remind myself that I know people everywhere. Australia, England, Ireland. And then I have things that I have taken from the internet. This is a page of a book. It's by Dallas Clayton. Love the book. It's called An Awesome Book, and it is an awesome book. This is actually out of a PDF from one of my art journaling classes with Dina Wakely. And I printed the PDF and cut the little picture out because I just find it very inspiring. She kind of has a just do it philosophy, and I sometimes need to remind myself of that because I tend to get stuck with it has to be perfect every time, and she's got a great motto, oops so well, and so I keep this up here to remind myself. This is Van Gogh, along with several other things in this room. He's my favorite artist. I could stare at his stuff for a very long time. I love Van Gogh. This is just something I made. I still haven't put pictures in. I probably made it. I won't say how long ago I made it, but I need to get pictures in there. This is a frame that one of my girlfriends was cleaning her house, and I happened to be over there, and she was going to throw it away, and I took it. And I went on the internet and borrowed photos. If you see one, you can tell me, and I will let you know who I borrowed it from. I have the names written on the back because I just wanted to make sure if anything ever happened, I knew where I got it. Anyways, every one of these photos is a letter of the alphabet. It is either a letter from like a sign, or it's a letter like the shape of the frame of a chair that makes an S. Like I would use, like they took a picture of that, so I used that S. I love text. I love words. I find them, very inspiring, the words, but also just looking at different fonts and different text. I think that they look kind of cool and they can really make a page. So this is just something I think kind of looks cool. I have a canvas up there. My mom got it for her high school graduation, so this is one of those that it's up there because it's near and dear to my heart. I do think it's really cool too, but it's probably up there more for sentimental reasons. When my mom passed away, I inherited it. Well, actually, I think I probably just took it, but my brother and dad didn't throw too big of a fit, so I guess. It's got a really cool story behind it. The guy in the front with the bow tie is Father Time, and the checkerboard is supposed to be like simple life, and then the thing in the back is supposed to represent like industry and how it's coming forward. It was just really neat. It was made in 1968, and I think it's kind of cool to just stare at it. And I like stuff that like captures your attention for a long period of time. I have scrapbook layouts of each one of my kids represented up here. Some are a little older than the others. This one's 30 now, so this one probably needs to be updated. But they're all up there and they're represented. Keegan, Zach, Kyle, Austin, and Amanda. And then this is a card I got from my friends. Like I said, it's just things that are up here for different reasons. I have a 101 things that I'm going to do in 1,001 days, and one of them is to collect 101 postcards. So when I get those 101 postcards, which I'm hoping to collect them by people mailing them to me, not by me going and buying 101, and I want to use those postcards to fill in like the smaller spots on the wall. I do have some already started, but I haven't got them up yet. Okay, over here. I can't tell you how much I love these drawers. They're so easy to organize things in. I know they're not the most beautiful form of organization, but they work. These cards are Zach and Keegan's. And what I think is really funny is, we'll get to their table in a second, but they like that they're on wheels, so Zach especially will go wheel it over next to his table, and he will do over at his table the same thing that I do at my art counter when I take my art journaling one over there. So he'll bring it over to him and use it and stuff. I just think it's kind of cool that he's picking up a lot of my habits. Anyways, when I go through and I purge my stuff, I will stick it in their cards. They have no rules when it comes to this stuff. They can do whatever they want. If it gets ruined, torn, ripped, I don't care, because I don't think there should be a lot of rules when it comes to art stuff. So they know that this stuff is free reign, do whatever they want. They can tear it up, cut it up, whatever. Zach has taken to stamping. So when my friend Mary brought over a box of stamps, after I got done going through it, Zach really begged for some, so he has his own little stamp collection going now, and he loves to stamp. So these are his stamps. And then we have my television. I'm a huge TV addict. I love TV shows. I love movies. this room would not be complete without a television for me, because as I was called the other day during an interview with Debbie and Aaron Morris, Sir Scrapbook, I was called a TV-aholic, and I couldn't deny it because I really am. So I love having this in here because I can see it from wherever I'm working, and I watch TV shows. The other really cool thing is sometimes when I'm working, I can pop in a cartoon for Zach and Keegan, and they'll bring some popcorn in, and they'll just sit down on the floor and watch TV, and I can kind of play with my own stuff. More mango. This is a display that I did to try to teach. It was kind of funny. I know I'm telling a lot of stories, but I made these at the scrap retreat. Michelle taught us how to use Copic markers, and so I made one of each color of the rainbow, thinking that I would hang them up and put the name of the word of the color underneath and teach Keegan colors. Except for when I brought them home, Keegan goes, "Oh, red, orange," and he knew them all already, so it was kind of a waste, but he still likes looking at them. They're kind of cool. Okay, down here we have Zach and Keegan's space. This is their area to create and do their art. They are boys. They tend to fight and squabble, so I had to make name tags for chairs so they know whose is whose, and that's that. Zach has a bunch of, as you can see, this is another habit of mine that Zach has picked up, which is the pile it up and leave it out. He made a treasure box. I gave him just an old, this is I think Cosmo Cricket, and he uses this. When I drop something on the floor, like a brad or a button, he will literally lunge for it to put it in his treasure box. But that's okay, it's spring rain. So he has that. This is an old trimmer. They love using that. But this is their area to create. And then I have my area where I'm sitting next to them. I'm going to move the chair out of the way so you get a better view. Okay, so this is my scrapbook desk. Now that I have ventured out into the area of spray ink and paint, I actually only do end scrapbooking stuff here. So I lay the foundation over there and put photos on, but when it comes to embellishing, journaling, and sewing, I bring it over here and finish it up. So I probably don't use this as much as I used to. I'm going to turn around here. My sewing machine. I had this for almost a year and hardly ever used it, and I realized that part of the reason was because in my smaller room I didn't have space to keep it out. So when it's not out, and it's one of those like, I want to sew on a page, but then I got to get it out and plug it in and do this, it just became too much. But now that I leave it out, I sew on my pages all the time, and I love that little bit of detail that you add just by sewing on it. Sorry, I think we're all coming down with colds here. This is how I organize my embellishments. I have little jars from IKEA. They're actually the spice jars. And anything that is small enough to fit in this opening goes in these little jars. And this is organized by color. There are two jars for colors. One is just buttons, because I actually don't use buttons a lot, but I just keep them separate because otherwise the jar is too full and I needed a way to separate them. So I have them in rainbow order and then neutrals on the bottom. Then I have these, the larger jars, and it's the same thing. Anything that fits in here, I keep in these jars. If it doesn't fit in this jar, then we go to these boxes.